Welcome in, everybody, to an emergency edition of the Away Team podcast. My name is Andrew Spade. I'm with Jordan Zerm, and we are coming to you just at full battle stations because it's officially a go. What we've been talking about on this podcast. I mean, have we been talking about this longer than anybody else in Cleveland sports media, Jordan? Yes, we have. Yes.
I think we have. I think scientifically we have. Yes.
It feels like we've been talking about it for the entirety of this podcast. That might not be true. I'd have to go back and look in the archives, but I know that we talked about it in January. Certainly, the idea that the Browns weren't going to be able to help themselves from trying one more time with Deshaun Watson. The first time that we talked about it was in the context of whether or not they should fire Andrew Berry. So it probably maybe even was December that we talked about it.
Yeah.
I think we both felt confident if they didn't fire Andrew Berry, we were going to end up right back here because he has a vested interest in making this trade look good. Jimmy Haslam has a vested interest in making this trade look good. It feels impossible for that to happen, but I think that they look at it and say, what do they even say? Man, I am at such a loss for words. I'm trying to put this in some sort of explicable, digestible format for people to understand why they would have made this decision. But it's hard not to just come back to what on earth are they doing?
Yeah. As you were talking, I'm sort of like trying to process it in my own mind, and there aren't any logical explanations. Like you could tell me that they want to try and save face, or that that Todd Monken genuinely believes that Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson gives them a better. I need to remove both of those from my mind. But
Yeah,
that
it's like
Deshaun
when
gives them
autocorrect gets a wrong word in it, and you're like, "That's not
yeah,
how you spell requiem," and you have
that's
to
not right.
manually delete it. That's where we're at with
Yeah,
both of these quarterbacks. Go ahead.
that's where we're at. I think like so much of this, I think you've always been a little bit ahead of me in believing that this day would come. I think I was slow to fully actually believe that Deshaun Watson would be starting games for the Cleveland Browns again after he tore his Achilles in 2024.
We
And Andrew,
texted
not
about it.
only did we,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh no,
I'm like,
I was just, you're ready. We're all ready. That's what this is for. It's, but not only what I wanted to say was not only are we back here, that this day has happened, as this morning, as we record this on Monday evening, they announced that Deshaun Watson will be their quarterback, but it wasn't just like nothing happened in between. They just named him the starter. And it's like, wow, I can't believe they did that. He gave a full on press conference. Unlike anything I've truly, Andrew, unlike anything I've ever seen. Another first for the Browns, so congratulations to them on another one of part of their lore, as their lore just grows and grows. But he essentially gave a press conference antagonizing the fan base that on the team that he plays for. It went up there, like clearly could not control, clearly wanted to say something after he was booed by a half full stadium because he played like dog water, and clearly wanted to say something. A question was asked where he found the opening to say it, and then went on a tangent that basically was like, I hate this fan base. I don't really want to be playing here. I've never really embraced playing here. Also, I don't regret anything I've ever done. And I think that I had sort of gotten, I think you get a little numb to the situation, especially because he hasn't really been around the last couple of years. He's been out of the spotlight. He's been on the sidelines, all that stuff. So you didn't really have to think about him.
It's easy to forget what an asshole he is.
100%. I was just going to say that the way that he spoke over the weekend, I mean, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
It's also been, I don't know, 5 or 6 since the allegations first came out, and he still cannot just simply about really anything say, I made a mistake, or even like, I regret putting people, some sort of BS apology, like I regret putting people in the situation. I mean, there is, for his play, for the allegations, for anything. And this is just this was such a reminder of that, Andrew, and it literally like flipped a switch in my head. And I was like, I think I hate this guy. I forgot that. And
Totally.
man, it just is. And then, we're texting and it's like, they can't. After
Right.
that, they're still going to
That's
do
what I
it.
was interjecting to say a few
Yeah,
minutes ago. It's like,
go ahead.
not only did you not believe that this would happen like a few months ago, you didn't believe it this weekend. Like after the game, we're texting and you're like, they can't. Not after this. Not after this, they can't. Oh, absolutely they can. Absolutely they can.
As a credit to you, you've been steadfast in all of these things that have happened where it's like, but after that, they couldn't, surely.
Yeah.
And you've been like, no, they will.
Yeah, they definitely will. The shamelessness of Deshaun Watson is only exceeded by the shamelessness of the ownership group of the Cleveland Browns. Like, and I even want to like start trying to draw a line under what the franchise is and then what this ownership group is, right? Because the other thing that's really at play here is like the reputation of the Browns, as much as it has suffered in the Randy Lerner years and the Carmen Policy, Al Lerner years, right, all the way back to the beginning of the expansion team, and then obviously what Art Modell did to the franchise, like that, all of those things injured the reputation. I think, taken as a sum total, going back to when he bought the team in 2010, Jimmy Haslam has done more damage to the Browns' reputation than any owner other than Art Modell. And Art Modell only got there by like destroying the team, like truly dismantling
literally
the
taking the team
franchise
away,
and turning it into a bird. So, like, that's also, I think, important to say here is that it's not the quarterback thing is inexcusable in and of itself, and then also we get used to, everybody in national media gets used to talking about the Browns being hopeless, the Browns being a laughingstock. Jimmy Haslam is a laughingstock. J.W. Johnson is a laughingstock. All of the people that have worked for them for the past decade plus in communications and on the business side, those people all deserve to be laughed at. Not the like the logo, not the team, not what it stands for. And I want to try and draw that distinction just because it's basically impossible to believe that this is ever going to change with this ownership group. And so you have to kind of want to see the Browns as two different things. There's the Browns as they are run by this group of idiots, and then there's the team that I fell in love with in the 1980s. And they have to, in my mind, be different things because I just can't reconcile being a fan of this absolutely backwards. I mean, there's not even, I can't talk. I get too worked up. I can't talk.
Yeah.
The words don't come out. I get so indignant at what we have had to go through. This is his fourth different chance to start for the Browns. He got the start in 22 coming off the suspension. He was bad in those games.
Oof.
Then he comes back and he plays in 23. He's not great. He's inconsistent. He then plays in 24 and gets hurt. And was, I mean, the last games he played in 2024, some of the worst quarterback play in the history of the NFL statistically. I'm not talking eyeball test. I mean, it was that too, but like just statistically, it was, incredibly bad. And then he tore his Achilles twice. And so this is his fourth chance to be the quarterback. He's been doing this for 5 years in Cleveland. There aren't words for how embarrassing this is, even apart from the way in which he continues to embarrass himself in public with the press conferences, right? So just talking about his on-field performance, that's one thing. And then, like you're talking about, you talk about the corner that he keeps painting himself into.
It is really hard to fathom that neither one of those sides is good. Like you can't even get good quarterback play, or you can't get somebody that has shown any growth in terms of how they see themselves, or like he has not come to grips with the reality of how not only the Browns fan base, but if you listen to anyone who's been talking in national media since this, like, but it's also just like he cannot come to terms that people don't like him. I think I saw, and maybe it was Bomani Jones, I want to make sure I give credit to whoever this was, that I saw a clip where they said the hardest thing it seems like for Deshaun Watson mentally right now is accepting the fact that people do not like him. But it's not like when LeBron James went to Miami.
Right.
And like you can so he in that scenario was like, sure, I'll be the villain because I left the team that drafted me where I'm from to go to another team, and fans are angry, and I understand that. But it's not like people don't like Deshaun Watson for a very different, much worse reason.
Yeah.
And since all of that happened, and then he proceeded to play some of the worst football you've ever seen, for him to go up there and be like, well, but I've been trying to do charity work and I've rehabbed really hard. And like, he cannot fathom that people still look at him in a negative light. And that to me is just like, I just, you cannot understand the ego or the unwillingness to even accept that maybe the way you have behaved and acted and played would make it so that fans are going to boo you. So like, I just am in awe of how unself-aware he is and continues to be. And Andrew, I truly, like, there were quarterbacks we have not enjoyed as Browns, but I cannot remember a quarterback fan relationship like this.
No.
And I do not know, right? Everybody's like, well, they're doing this so he can play 2 games on the road, and if he's bad, they'll.
That's
and
more
it's
cope.
like, what are you
That's more cope.
Also, what are you talking about? If that is a reason, that's an insane reason.
But
and like,
but that's the same cope.
But it's the Browns. But it's also the Browns. Yeah,
it's the same exact cope as, oh, he tore an Achilles, he's done. We'll never see him play for the Browns again. There were so many people victory lapping last year that was saying he'll never suit up for the Browns. You'll never see him. And now they're saying, oh, well, there's no way he's starting week 3. He'll get booed out of the stadium. He absolutely will be the starting quarterback week 3 if he's healthy. Like, without a doubt in my mind. Todd Monken said today, it's not a week-to-week thing. He's the starting quarterback. And you watch this happen 2 years ago. They stuck with him until his Achilles snapped. If he hadn't gotten hurt like that, he would have continued playing, and he was the worst quarterback in the NFL. They are not going to stop. That's why, I mean, the Deshaun Watson death march thing is funny. It's meant to be a joke, but the nugget of truth in there is they are going to force us to watch this and ram this down our throats all season long if he can keep his body on the field. Like, he will not stop being the quarterback. I really believe that.
I think you're right. And again, like, we talk about Deshaun being not self-aware. This organization is not self-aware. Obviously. Because that scene in their first home game, if he is starting and plays poorly, which is almost guaranteed,
of course,
is going to be, I don't know, man. I called it like Bottlegate 2.0 on Twitter. Like, I don't know what else, like, how else that atmosphere is going to be. And one more point I wanted to make about this too is it makes me disappointed a little bit, in less so, but in Todd Monken as well, because there was part of me that sort of, you and I talked about earlier, like, this could very well be a one and done situation where they're like, you can be the coach for 2026. If it goes horribly, we're firing you and we're starting over with a new quarterback, whatever. Part of me started to think, like, okay, maybe, he's going to settle in and he's going to be able to, like, they'll start Shedeur, and that's fine because nobody really cares and nobody expects him to be on the roster anyway. And, like, we'll go forward with that. And maybe Todd, if he impresses enough or if he does things as a coach that we see maybe points to some potential there, then you can hang on to him. This now very much feels like what we talked about originally, where there was a conversation of, we're going to start Deshaun Watson. This is and we kind of have this bait for you because this is going to be probably your only chance to be a head coach in your career. Right. And to say yes to something like that, and now I can't imagine he's surprised that he's been thrust into this situation, and to still sort of, he's trying to do the, like, it's a football decision, and I'm sure it is.
Sure.
I'm sure it's a lot of it is for him. We've discussed this. He does not think Shedeur is ready to be a consistent NFL quarterback, and I don't think he's wrong. But it does make me a little disheartened that, like, he's already sort of into the machine of, certainly, well, we can't, it's not based on the fan reaction. And all I saw was a guy who was, just his emotions got out there. And if he plays better football, and it's like, he's already part of the cog, man. Like, we're barely out of training camp. We're barely out of the preseason's not even done. And Monken's already into this sort of PR machine for Deshaun Watson. And it's incredibly depressing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think, and you touched on something there that I wanted to mention, which is, I think the world in which Deshaun Watson is not the starting quarterback, the only world for this Browns team is the one where there is a quarterback that they can't keep on the bench. right? That you cannot justify wasting time, wasting games on Watson because quarterback X, right? I mean, whoever your favorite from the draft last year, right? That they land, you know, in the later rounds is good enough that, you know, I mean, somebody was saying Tyler Shuck, right? Like if Tyler Shuck is the other quarterback, is Watson starting? I think the answer is no, because I think then you at that point you are saying, well, we could have a functional team and we're choosing not to. I think the reason that they are able to do this with Watson is because they have set up a scenario where he's almost the winner by default. And that, I think, again, is to the great discredit of Andrew Berry, who does deserve a ton of blame for this trade and not foreseeing the you know, do I think that the general manager should have foreseen what has happened? No. Do I think that he should have understood the downside risk of trading 3 first-round picks for a person who is obviously not big on accountability, which is kind of a big thing when you're an NFL starting quarterback? I think it's fair to question that. And I think it's fair to question everything, I mean, just broadly, that Andrew Berry has done at quarterback since then, in seeking only short-term remedies, backups, Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco, and not being able to identify any sort of young talent that could keep Watson off the field in a scenario where he does not get better. And there's just not a reason. There's not a good reason why that hasn't happened. And it's embarrassing that they drafted 2 quarterbacks last year and neither of them could beat out this.
And it's, you know, I was reminded that, you know, Deshaun Watson initially told the Browns no until they decided to fully guarantee his contract. So he has never had any sort of connection or lawyer tenure, even before this sort of relationship with the fans. Like he has never, he could have been wearing a Saints jersey or a Falcons jersey. Those were some of the other teams involved. Had they guaranteed that contract, he would not be in Cleveland. And so they groveled at his feet and said, we'll guarantee that contract for you. And they're still doing it, even at a time where there is no incentive or reason for them to, other than they can't swallow the cap hit. So they're going to still try to placate him. And I don't know, man, it's just so, like we have talked about on past pods about how we want to be excited for the other things going on with this team, but the quarterback shadow is so large. And since that conversation, which we had like a week or two ago, that shadow has grown immensely. And it's no longer now like tuning in to watch a football game, right? Like week 1, week 2, week 3. This is now tuning in to see how big of a train wreck this is going to be. And again, there's just from ownership, from the front office, even down to the coaching staff, there is no understanding of like that, right? Like you guys are not about to enter into this environment where you can develop a football team. You're starting Deshaun Watson after that press conference, and now everybody is like, well, this certainly is going to end in disaster. Let's tune in and see. Like the both crowds, the away team crowds in Jacksonville and whoever they play second, I don't even care. And then when they come back home, nobody is there to watch a football game.
Yeah.
They're there to see Deshaun Watson fail. Everybody.
Right.
And for reasons that are good. Like I get it. I would pay spite money to go watch him be terrible if I was living in Cleveland. And so like they just create this environment for themselves over and over and over again where it's not about football. It's not about football, and it never is. And it's a shame because they have talent that they could develop. Yeah. And you could, as we've talked about, sell this fan base pretty easily on, we can create an environment where if we select a talented quarterback in the draft next year, we can hit the ground running. But it's not going to be about that. And it's not going to be about that. And one last thing, because now I feel like I'm ranting and raving, but like one last thing.
It's that kind of pod. It's got to be that kind of pod.
It is that kind of pod. The last thing I'll say too is I think there are also, I've seen this on Twitter and heard on the radio and stuff. It's like, okay, well, just get through this year
Right.
whatever, and he'll be done, and they'll draft quarterback. I think you saw something. This stood out to me because when you you draft these players, they know Deshaun Watson as the former quarterback of the Texans. Players don't really seem to care all that much about the allegations or anything like that. But you saw that clip of Denzel Boston on the sideline when fans were booing in that game, where he basically was like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, why are they booing him? This is gross." So, the players in that locker room also sort of are in their own bubble. And you are now creating this environment where some of these younger players are also now like, why are the fans acting this way towards our quarterback?
Right.
Because they don't really have an understanding of what the history is, or they don't care. He's a fellow player. They're going to protect their fellow players. It's a very insular thing. So you're now creating this environment where it's like players talk to each other, and there's quarterbacks now that are coming out in the NIL era that are they're now used to being able to sort of like demand certain things or go to places that they want to go to. I'm not saying that like this is going to turn into Arch Manning saying I'll never play for the Cleveland Browns, but I am saying that like the environment that they are creating now, and I think you saw it, that Denzel Boston reaction encapsulated that, where it's like you're creating a toxic environment everywhere, and that is dangerous, man. That's not just like a get through the season and we'll move on.
No, and I mean it's the preseason, so however bad it is now, there's nobody has seen this. I mean, we feel it because we're in the Browns bubble and we pay attention to the national media when they talk about the Browns. But like I would guess if you randomly surveyed 10 NFL fans, 3 or 4 of them would have heard about, the Browns fans booing Deshaun Watson at home. Like it's not, but when he blows up the way that he did 2 years ago, which is what's coming, because we haven't even talked about Jordan. He played like shit in the second preseason game against third stringers.
Yeah.
He's not going to be good this year. And it's going to be very similar to what it was in the past, where that will get more and more attention because it's just not, to your point, a normal thing for an NFL franchise to not chase excellence. And he is the glaring, festering boil of an exception to any idea that you might get where you are by your performance, because he is so consistently underperformed or not performed at all, right? And that's what's going to be, that's what everybody's going to witness, and it is absolutely going to drag the Browns name through the mud again during the season and put you back in a situation where your brand, such that it even exists anymore, is further tarnished by all of this. And they will have us. Eli Manning didn't want to go play for the Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Chargers being anywhere near as big of a mess as the Browns are currently. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's recency bias. But the Manning family has a history of this, man. And I would not take it as guaranteed that whether it's Arch or Lenora Sellers or Dante Moore or whoever, if the Browns have the number 1 pick and there's a clear-cut consensus number 1 quarterback, I would not take it as a guarantee that there won't be some sort of shenanigans around that because of what the Browns are the reputation around the Browns by then. Because remember, even in that scenario, they're either a one-and-done coach again, and then they've got to go back into the coaching market and hire somebody, which good luck, or they're a lame duck Todd Monken in his second year. So that's also, the draft is after whatever mess that is, right? Like there's so many steps to go between now and whenever this is over, and most of them are going to make the Browns look worse, and most of them are going to involve the Browns losing games and losing face. And Jimmy Haslam deserves to wear this for the rest of his life. And
Absolutely.
the timing could not be worse for him. They just opened a, ticket sales shop or whatever it is.
It's an experience. I'm sorry, please. It's an experience. Let's refer to it properly.
And the picture of that model got, absolutely roasted online, deservedly so. The stadium looks like shit. The PSLs are going to be expensive. Nobody should spend a cent on this team. Nobody should. I agree with you that it would be cathartic to go to Cleveland and boo Deshaun Watson. I honestly think I might be in that neighborhood of like, I don't think I'm going to go to a Browns game until they,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that the Haslams aren't going to sell the team. I'm not naive enough to think that that's going to happen, but there's no reason to give them any of my money right now. I don't want to buy any merch, and I don't want to go to any games. So that's where I land on it. The last thing I want to say about Deshaun Watson is just, by way of drawing another comparison, I think he's football Trump. He is the guy that you don't want to think about. You certainly don't want to watch him talk. And his performance is setting records for how bad it is in like multiple dimensions, while at the same time he publicly blames other people for not supporting him. It's a pretty airtight comparison, and I would say that the feeling that I have that the team that I've rooted for my entire life employs him is very similar to the feeling that I have being an American citizen in this moment, and just like the overwhelming feeling of like, is this not done yet? Yeah. We've been dealing with Donald Trump in public life for 11 years, and I mean longer than that in public life, but 11 years in political terms since he started running for president the first time. Browns fans have been dealing with Deshaun Watson for 4, and it's not dissimilar. It just feels like it will never end. And I just want to not be disgusted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you texted me that he is football Trump, I was like, it's one of the better analogies I've ever heard. It feels like it has been going on forever, and you also are like, why? You guys had a choice in this. You guys are choosing to do this. You guys are choosing to vote for this man or to start this guy at quarterback. This is you have free will,
right? Yeah. In 2024, I understood maybe you didn't know better. Now,
yeah,
we're doing this again.
We're doing this again. We're running this back. Yeah, man. It's this organization has done this over and over and over again, where they don't consider. You think about Johnny Manziel, which to me is really one of the first big ones where you're like, you guys think this is going to work in your favor? Like you're not thinking anywhere outside the present moment of a name, ticket sales, whatever. They did it again with Shedeur Sanders. And they did it before that with Deshaun Watson, where they bring in these players and they just don't. They're so arrogant.
They did it with Baker Mayfield.
They did with it, like to some extent, absolutely.
To a large extent, I think he was a similar player. I don't think he gets the same rep.
Yeah,
but
he's at least had some NFL success.
And certainly, I don't want to paint with too broad of a brush, but I think they have been chasing, names over substance for the entirety of the Haslam ownership, and he's doing it with the Bucs to a certain extent. I mean, his current track record of sports ownership is up there with some of the most embarrassing in sports history. And I think that as Browns fans, again, I'll just say what I said before, that you have to find a little space to separate what this feels like as a fan of a team that you've loved for longer than this asshole has owned it, from the mistakes that that they're making, the sort of life altering mistakes that they're making. And I mean, it is like, this is, it's not life or death for people, but it is a big part of their lives. And one of my favorite anecdotes from today is that people are just driving by Berea and yelling at the building.
Yeah, that was and if, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this or are Browns fans have driven past the facility, but somebody made the point where like, you don't like, it's not on a major road. Like,
no, you're not just cruising by. Yeah.
You gotta decide that you want to go down Lou Groza Boulevard and scream at the facility.
Yes.
And I gotta respect it.
I'm gonna run to lunch. Before I go get sandwiches for everybody, I'm just going to run over to Lou Groza quick and just tell Jimmy Haslam what an arrogant prick he is. And then I'm going to hit up that Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, I'm gonna be about 5 minutes late to that meeting. I just need to drive by the Browns facility. I got a lot of swear words in me, and I got to get them out. Yeah, that was an incredible
that was a
tweet.
great, just a piece of color for what this feels like. And again, like in the same way that I separate, how I feel about the country that I live in and all of that stuff from what's going on currently. It's the same thing, you have to have some level of that. And I think it's the only way we're going to get through this, because you have to believe that the Browns as a franchise are bigger than the idiots that currently run it. I mean, there's not really another answer.
No, there isn't. And you have to just the thought, the heavy thought of having to sit through another season of this intentionally to get to the other side it sucks, man. Like I'd love to watch the games and watch Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion that we've talked about, and Quinshon Judkins and Carson Schlesinger came back to practice today. And like, there are just things where I can feel like, okay, cool. And then here's Deshaun Watson. It's like a blinding light in front of your eyes. And again, like I said earlier, it just makes it not about football. It makes these games not really about football at all. It makes it about watching how big of a disaster this is going to be. And that's not fun. Like, that's fun for other people that are not Browns fans or national media or whatever it is. It's not fun for us anymore. Like, this has never been enjoyable. And that we're here about to rev up for another round is, it's really like, I'm dumbfounded by it, man. I really, really am.
Yeah, it's there's not really much more to say than that. That sums it up really well. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I do just want to address that we have this new overlay, and I don't know what changed on the back end, but halfway through it flipped, so our videos are on the opposite sides, and I couldn't figure out how to put it back. So if you saw me distracted for a little bit, that's why. I also didn't fix it. So for the rest of the show, I'm Jordan Zerm. That's Andrew Spade, and it's been a pleasure, I guess, commiserating with all of you. We are going to do the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if we're going to do players, coaches. We'll probably just do everything. I worked on it. I picked out
Pumpkinhead going to be involved.
That's a good call. That's a good call. Maybe we'll get some media members in there. Could be fun. I picked out 15 Widow's Bay characters, and so we're gonna do that later this week. That's gonna be a lot of fun. We are gonna have to laugh our way through this. There's not really another way around it. So, I did text our buddy Wreck This League today. I was like, what do we think about some Deshaun Watson Death March merch? Is that over the top? So if you got any suggestions in terms of that, reach out to us. Listen, man, we got to have fun, because this is not going to be the fun is not going to be the football. Like, that's very clear. And so we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will continue. Oh boy, we will continue talking about it. We're going to talk about the Browns, even if it literally breaks our ability to speak.
It's going to break us mentally, yeah.
But we enjoy doing it, and we're so happy that you enjoy watching and following along. So tell a friend, subscribe, all that stuff, and until next time, take care, everybody.